PDA? Should we show them how we do it every day? Let's get it. Kali that girl, Kali go girl, Kali don't stop, Kali don't skirt, Kali got a job, Kali got a word. 뜨거워 언제나 don't get burned. 넘쳐 흘러물 than a buffet, 죽여주잖아 like a buffet. 누가 감히 on my hotbed, 이건 문 열지 마 that's a rock day. 당겨봐 your mark cause I'm better than 필요 없는 시험들 다 뿐이미. But all of my numbers are talking babe. 부루마법 message monopoly. 넌 종이 돈이 number money 필요 없대 너네들이 만든 돈들 go get it go get it go get it. 더 미션 눈을 못대 못해 그래 너도 get it cause I got it different.
All I ever know is life upon the throne. 시작하면 끝을 보는 거야. You want more? No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it in, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, set it up and away. You know I got it like boom, boom, blow your mind. Never giving less, and that's how it'll stay. You know I got it like all day, all the time. When I go, it's for dope, get it cool, but I'm cold. I don't fit in a mold, I'm a rebel. I don't do what you say, making moves, I don't wait while I smile in your face. I got different DNA. What's higher than the top? That's me. Come take a look before falling at my feet. 조용히 몸을 숙여봐. So take a look, 나를 기억해요, queen. All I ever know is life upon the throne. 시작하면 끝을 보는 거야. You want more? No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it in, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, set it up and away. You know I got it like boom, boom, blow your mind. Never giving less, and that's how it'll stay. You know I got it like all day, all the time. Way out，感觉犹如海浪的微浪，不断往前，you'll never way down. This is how I do it every day. Wow, wow，这一路上的奇迹都记住了你的每一个瞬间，无比的耀眼。I know you want some more，准备好就一起走，Giving it all more。No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it in, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, set it up and away. You know I got it like boom, boom, blow your mind. Never giving less, and it's Do we fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love? Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above.
And welcome back, everybody, to Titan Esports. We are the Gladiator League, week number 8, and we have New World Esports Titan playing off against Turniips Tots. I am, of course, Fun Phoenix, and this week we are joined by our friend Shotduck.
Hi, guys. Unfortunately, I'm here to deprive you all of Rhyperion.
So it goes, and I believe we've got the draft here. They have already got the bans out of the way, but should be an exciting week. We've got number 1 seed Turniips Tots once again 7-1, currently playing up against New World Esports Titan 6-2, sitting pretty clean at number 5.
I will admit to having not kept up with Gladiator League as much as I wanted to. Divinity has kept me busy. So what should I expect? Have these two teams been performing well on stream?
Well, looking at the records alone, they certainly have. Each team
Fair.
suffering no more than 2 losses, of course. So they're doing pretty darn good. And I'm not sure how up to date you are with the current meta, but we do see a couple of interesting bans, namely Fiora and Graves. Not stuff I would expect.
Graves is super interesting. Yeah, I think that's mainly because just the quick look I took at the OPGGs. Turniips is a big Graves player, and the Poppy is another one that popped up on his OPGG, having played it recently, since Poppy's been absolutely dominating the pro meta. Makes a lot of sense.
Ton of sense. And Seraphine, first picked, you know it, you love it. There's a reason she has an 83% presence in the Gladiator League right now, and Silas MF the response.
Okay, so last night's stream game in Divinity, we saw this matchup. One of the teams picked a Sona Seraphine bot lane, and the other team countered with a Silas. And I swear the Silas Seraphine ults were better than the straight up Seraphine ults. It was some really exciting team fighting.
Something support players can't hit skill shots. I can say that because I'm a support player, so it's okay. I totally agree. A lot of value with that Silas stealing the Encore. And then Vex Sivir, so this does lock the Seraphine into the support role pretty much.
Yeah, unless there's some true shenanigans and Seraphine goes top lane. But I don't think that's where the meta is right now. I hope that's not where the meta is right now. It looks like we're getting a Sivir Seraphine bot lane.
Sivir for sure. Super prevalent in the pro meta as well. Vex, that has to be a blanket answer into the Silas. Sort of interesting though. I do feel like Vex is kind of a high value ultimate for Silas to steal, so not sure how well that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, like Silas is so mobile with the abscond and abduct that it plays into Vex's like anti-mobility archetype, I guess you could call it. Um, but Vex also has the ability to, like, she has the safety of the shield, the fear, has a lot of tools into Silas. And I think on paper, I do like the Vex and that, but not like very strongly favored.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how New World Esports draft around this Silas. It was picked super early. You do kind of have some flexibility to be able to, hey, maybe we shouldn't just pick a bunch of really crazy team fighting ultimates. And Blitzcrank as well. That is not a popular pick at all.
No. Not super surprising because we were actually just talking about the OPGGs and looking through everything, and the support from Turniips Tots looks like they favor the hook champions. So Blitzcrank is an exciting choice there. I feel like it's more of a gotta kill it type of hook champion rather than the Thresher, the Nautilus, who bring a bit more utility, a bit more to the overall team play. Whereas Blitzcrank is just C champ, kill champ, which I think is a fantastic answer to Seraphine.
Yeah, if you hook Seraphine, she is going to die. That's just how it works. How do you feel about the Blitzcrank hook into this Sivir with the spell shield, though?
I know how my old man reactions would do if I was on the Sivir, but I think I want to believe in these Gladiator League players that we're going to see some fast fingers, some good reactions. It's going to be a very rough lane if not. I was just hearing a couple AD carry players I talk to regularly talk today about how Misfortune is boring but super strong right now, and I'm really excited to see game one, how she fares in a pretty good matchup, I want to say, since she's strong early versus Sivir, who's more of a scaler.
Yeah, should be an interesting bot lane, 100%. And I do like the Misfortune a lot. Just the huge AoE team fight potential. She's pretty aggressive in lane, especially when paired with something like the Blitzcrank. Big fan of that as well. And I do want to sort of look at these top lane bans that are coming out in the second round here. Darius, and then Volley Bear, Wukong, they're top junglers. So kind of interesting though. Any ideas what this Darius ban suggests?
I mean, Darius, I think just pure tier list win rate is, I believe, the highest win rate top laner in the game, and is actually one of the highest like win rate champions. The last I looked at Lolalytics. It's often regarded as just a solo queue champ, though, rather than being super strong in a competitive setting.
That's always the trade-off. It's like, well, if this champion is really good in solo queue, does that also mean it's really good in 5v5 competitive? That's sort of an interesting trade-off across champions, because we see stuff like Rise, which is abysmal win rate-wise, still come out in pro play. So interesting always to see stuff like that. And Nocturne as well, not a very popular champion either.
Not a popular champion, but we have 6 jungle bans in this lobby. So have we gone far enough down the tier list to get to Nocturne? But like on paper, I do like how much setup they have for the Nocturne. There are so far 2 good lanes to play into. And it's really committing them to an early game plan. So I'm really curious how NWE reacts to this, if they try to go for a slower pick to enable them to get to late game, or and that's an enabler right there.
Zach, a monster of his own, really happy to sort of just sit there, clear, and try and countergank this Nocturne if possible. That is sort of the nice thing. Slingshot and Paranoia kind of have similar ranges, as funny as it is to say, at least at that level 6. So, you do have a bit of flexibility. You can kind of just hopefully follow Nocturne around and just play 2v2s instead of 1v2s throughout the map.
Yep. These teams are both going to have to go for some super creative warding positions, because that's really the catch with these 2 junglers, that it's the unorthodox angles. It's coming out of the dark spots to really mess your day up. And I'm curious if there is actual adaptation or if we're going to see kind of a bloodbath.
100% agree with you on that point. Definitely a knowledge check of, hey, don't turn your brain off. No autopiloting here. You can't just ward the river and hope you're okay against Zach because he's going to hop out of Tribrush and mess you up. Always, cool to see that kind of thing come out in here. And we see a blind pick set top lane. I suppose Silas could still technically go to the top lane instead of mid.
True. I don't know about that as a matchup top lane. But Set's also okay. Wow. Alawi would be a pick for sure.
Pick it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Alawi, my number one favorite champion in the game. I love her to death. She is so much fun to play. Admittedly, maybe not the strongest pick, but she is really, really good into, a double melee top and jungle, which Set and Zach are totally that.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of the comps overall feel like top is going to be completely ignored, which should be really interesting to see since whichever one gets that lead, like if Alawi gets ahead, that's going to be just completely suffocating. Set a little bit less so. He feels completely unfair when he's very ahead. And that's what I always loved about top lane, this duel, this 1v1, just like squaring off. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this game.
Yeah, I mean, we're either going to see Zach and Nocturne spend a lot of time top before Alawi hits 6, or we're not going to see them go there at all, because that is just how Alawi works, of course. You don't want to opt into the 2v1 if possible. And, looking at these teams, do you have one side that you would really drastically prefer, or what are you thinking here, Shot Duck?
I think I like the Turniips Tots composition more, but I feel like the downside is just as low as the upside. Like I feel like that comp is either going to perform really fantastically and it's going to look great, or if they fall behind, they're just not going to have enough damage to get anything done, and it's going to look pretty silly. But I love that. I think that's really exciting league to watch.
Definitely enjoyable to watch as a spectator, for sure. Either way, should be an exciting series. These are two of the better teams, if not the best ones, in the Gladiator League right now. So we should see just an absolute treat of a game here. And we're going to cut it to a very quick break, and then we will join you guys back on the Rift. So stick around, and we will be with you in a second. And we did not say goodbye for very long here. A nice, early, hopefully interesting game here. We got a Blitzcrank. We got Nocturne Alawi with Barrier even. I mean, talk about some heat. I'm excited.
I was just thinking that it looked like a shockingly standard lineup. No real curveballs. But then, yeah, I did not notice that that Barrier summoner. Interesting. And that's just really hard committing to this side lane lifestyle.
Talk about committing. I mean, you are just saying, hey, I'm going to dominate you in lane. I don't need teleport. Who needs teleport? when you could just take a combat summoner. Alawi doesn't really lack damage most of the time, and especially against Set, you really just want to dodge that breakpoint because he's usually just barely able to burst you down. As somebody who's played a lot of Alawi, I can say this with confidence. He's just able to burst you down before you can quite fully kill him. So the barrier does actually provide a ton of value in that 1v1 and 2v1.
For sure. I mean, I love seeing the Blitzcrank invade. Is kind of predictable. I actually liked NWE's idea there. 5 stacking in bot, trying to predict. But it's also really interesting to me that Trigger is starting on red and is going to path upwards. It is kind of the exact opposite of what I expected going into this game. The early top lane, but it might just be trying to get that set ahead so that it just goes on autopilot.
Book number 1 has gone in, and it is good. Ordaro going to be able to, at the very least, root up GG no rematch. Able to stay alive, but gonna take a big chunk of damage in the meantime. So that is 1 for 1 on the Blitzcrank hooks.
Yes, sir. And that's Seraphine being exposed as the squishy she is. And I just realized the OPGG. Ooh, flash.
There we go. Nice little trade.
Yeah, the profile we were looking at that I thought was very...
Oh, Meteor Beat here, pretty low. Gonna get caught by the Merlins. Flee, and first blood over to Boogie. Meteor Beat just a bit over aggressive there, looking for that invade.
And yeah, they did have blue buff worded. It means Alawi's gonna have a real tough time because that's double buffs going over to the set in addition to the 300 gold. A nice 2-piece coming through from the set to finish that off. They didn't even need Trigger. Trigger was nowhere to be found. That was purely Merlin and Boogie pulling a rabbit out of their hat. Unfortunately for Turniips himself.
The jungler not there to back up the jungler, but that's what your solo laners are for, right? You gotta have them back you up when it's needed. And just some light trading going on here. Juggernaut's gonna get chunked out, and this is kind of where the lack of teleport is really gonna burn them.
Yeah, usually you bring a combat summoner, and so your opponent has to be a bit more scared of taking that fight. But the other side of it is that teleport allows Set to play that much more aggressively because he has the option. As long as he doesn't die, he can go back, reset, refill his health bar, and okay. The Protomorph almost getting the spell shield there. But I think if the Blitzcrank hook had hit, that would have been a successful spell shield. That's part of the count we were talking about in draft as well.
Yeah, and Meteor Beat is really just going to get punished even more. We saw Trigger and Merlin able to walk in and grab that blue buff. Merlin grabbing blue buff 3.5 minutes into the game. No Turt though. Gonna go in, lands the chains, gonna force the flash out of Merlin. Gonna be maybe enough to buy some space. Meteor Beat gonna continue to chase though. No Turt also gonna dish out a bunch of damage. Able to find the first takedown on Merlin, and a flash away, not gonna buy enough space for Merlin. No Turt still alive here. 2v1 Boogie gonna flash. Trades with No Turt over the wall. Meteor Beat now gonna chain and fear Boogie away, so it gets the revive from Trigger. And overall, 1 kill for Meteor Beat. Gonna at least get a little bit something to get back into this game.
Yeah, getting a kill as a level 3 Nocturne is almost more than you actually expect with a champion like that. It's normally he's out there to get level 6 and then make stuff happen. But being the proactive one on the map is yielding returns despite the poor initial invade at level 2.
I really... Oh, sorry, I want to cut you off from the shot duck, but I do want to give a real big shout out. No Turt has done just a consistently fantastic job in this mid lane. If you look at the stats, I mean, she has the lowest deaths per game, the highest KDA. It's just like she dies on average 1.5 times in per game. Like, that is astounding in a gold league.
Yeah, that is pretty phenomenal. Is Silas indicative of the types of champions they play? Because it's that stat can read 2 ways. It's going deathless if you're a Xerath Ziggs player, says one thing, versus like a Silas Yasuo player being deathless is a whole nother beast.
you know, I can't say that I have a great recollection of all of the champions that she's played so far this season.
Fair enough.
But I do know we have seen this Silas before. I think we've also seen Syndra, Ari, you know, classic Talia. Just the popular stuff in the meta right now does just seem like what is most comfortable and what they've been consistently playing.
Very cool. Yeah, just took a quick look over. Of all the champions, Ryze is the most played this season in solo queue. That is a glutton for punishment if I've ever seen one.
And so even though Boogie was able to grab those double buffs early, Juggernaut now has a bit of a CS lead, an experience lead, and they have the Sheen, so kind of feel like it's pushing maybe a bit back towards Alawi's favor.
Especially just item for item, Set has a bunch of little components, but going for that Vamp Scepter, which means I think that's going to be a Bork Rush, which is firmly within the meta. Ooh.
Boom,
Juggernaut
Faith
hits
gonna
level
come out,
6
gonna get
first.
Boogie, combo it up, come get your meat your beat, able to grab the kill on Boogie. Juggernaut, the last blow, but gonna trade the dragon for it.
Yeah, the Hextech Drake is a pretty solid trade-off, but losing the set there, especially with Alawi having a 20 CS lead, in addition to evening up the gold, the item breakpoint, just Sheen versus Vamp Scepter, is really noticeable. But the big thing there is Juggernaut hitting level 6 there with a pretty successful freeze, forcing Boogie to play a little bit further up than is necessarily good for him.
And now Meteor Beat gonna try and go back for a bit more, but we saw how that went the first time. Gonna have to flash away. Able to at least get the Shadow Assault out of Merlin. And something that was changed, you know, semi-recently, we got those dragon buffs, right? They're all a bit better incrementally. You know, those first couple, they mean a bit more. How do you think that factors into trading something like that kill top lane for an early dragon like this?
I'm okay with trading.
Ooh, slides that one through the minion wave. Sorry. I see a good hook, I gotta call it.
Yeah, and the Sivir with the spell shield just too late. I mean, it was a hook from the lack of vision in the bush, so that would have been truly impressive. Reaction speed. Oh my god!
But a second one though. Pair of ultimates used. GG no rematch. Able to grab Protomorph. And FTF Daro, sorry. Looking a little bit low in HP as well, so it doesn't seem like they'll be able to collect the wave at all.
That was a fantastic string of hooks. Like, me and Protomorph both seem to think they were safe under the turret.
No escape! And no escape actually for Mr. Shmee, who burns the flash. And Trigger was there to capitalize on it. So, Ordaro out of summoners, but maybe a bit too far for Shmee.
I appreciate the gusto for sure, but yeah, a little bit greedy. You don't even get the advantage of having desynced Protomorph and Ordaro's back timers there, because then Ordaro, it gives Protomorph, honestly, some free solo XP in the lane, which is great for a 0-1-0 Sivir. Only 700 gold behind for being against a Blitz MF lane who just showed how strong that is at level 6. I think that's pretty good for the Sivir here. She's always gonna scale, she's gonna do her thing, clear out waves. But now we've got a 3-man coming in tie.
Alawi missed the test of fate, but with the slam, going to try and get some space. Not going to be enough, though. No Turt with the roam alongside Meet Your Beat, able to dive Boogie, make him miss another wave. And man, this gold lead continuing to extend, but the kill is only 2-4. So much of that is just across the board in this CS difference. Oh, top lane, no. Merlin roamed themselves. The Shadow Assault going to land, but Juggernaut has hit the test of spirit, so able to force Merlin off. And the flash forward going to try and grab Meet Your Beat, and it will. So able to at least grab that jungler. And Trigger and Ordaro trying to make a play on the other side of the map.
I don't see where the two of them have enough damage to take out Mr. Shmee. And it's given, no Turt enough time to roam on down and make this kind of a bad time to beat Protomorph. And yeah, the Sivir ult does get popped.
On the hunt, but we're going the other direction in this case. So, I I mean, this bot lane for New World Esports Titan, they're looking a bit low on resources in general, but Trigger is down here to hopefully save the day.
Thinking about it at least, but yeah, you are not going to be diving this Blitz MF, at least in the current state of things. Trigger
it's just so tough. I mean, looking at FDF or Daro, look, they're still level 5 and we're almost 12 minutes into the game. Encore is such an important ultimate.
And I actually really question the immediate Oblivion Orb, because it's not going to give them much value in the lane. It's not going to make them any more durable when the hooks land. In the overall sense, yeah, absolutely. Get yourself a Putrefier. That's an essential item. But with the Alawi, with the Silas on the enemy team. But when the lane is going a bit pear-shaped, it's 1 kill to 0, so it's not particularly bad. But it's not a great lane state, and you rush the Oblivion Orb to not much benefit.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it's any use of it now in the bot lane here. Trigger going to hop on down, able to bounce on top of both of them. Not going to be enough, though. Mr. Shmee able to land the hook on the way out. Gets the flash out of Trigger in the top lane here. Going to get tossed under the tower, and Juggernaut's going to get taken down. A bit of a shutdown back up to Boogie. And in the bot lane, the Zac Flimes were able to be killed, so GG No Rematch able to grab that kill as well.
Trigger, and I mean, Trigger I think was actually pretty okay there, but Mr. Shmee playing super well, landing these hooks. I mean, it's kind of required if you're gonna have the gusto, the gall to lock in Blitzcrank, but I still like it.
Back up, Protomorph just gonna auto GG No Rematch to death. Not much to say about that. Just a bit of an extra gold, 250 Gs for the shutdown, and at least Meet Your Beat able to grab this second dragon of the game.
Yeah, and that's supposed to not be a thing anymore. Sneaking a solo dragon like that, the patch notes said me it's gone. Told me it's gone. But Meet Your Beat evening up the dragons, and I did not see which rift spawned. It looks like Cloud Rift coming in. Okay. Super good for Nocturne. Not as good for most of the champions, I think, on NWE. But the Nocturne, the Silas, the Alawi even. They're all going to be big fans of the move speed.
I think it's one of those moments where it's a Cloud Soul that everybody's pretty happy to get, but nobody's super thrilled about it, and nobody's just completely unhappy with it. It's going to have some value, but at the end of the day, how often do we really see these games come down to who gets Soul? It's kind of just, by then, oftentimes one of these teams is just so much farther ahead.
Yep.
Trigger here, gonna try a 2v2, the Evil Land, Leap of Faith, going to just completely slap these people silly. That's what happens when you gank an Alawi, barrier used. Flash forward from Boogie, trying to find the sweet spot, not gonna be enough here. Meet Your Beat did drop the Paranoia, and Merlin, Shadow Assault still available here, going to land on Juggernaut, but they get rooted up, not able to find the second cast, and Merlin taken down as well, so a triple kill. All 3 members of the top and mid side gone for New World Esports Titan.
A truly unfortunate series of events for New World Esports there, and just super well read for Turniips Tots. The lack of
bullet
respect
time in the bot lane here. Get out of this minion wave.
Yeah, just the lack of respect for where Nocturne can come from. The counter gank possibility there, and the absolute strength of Juggernaut in here with a 2-level lead. Now just 1, but looks like a level and a half lead over Boogie. And the difference between the Divine Sunder being completed versus that Bork, the 40 CS lead in top. You really...
Ooh, flash forward, grabbing the hook. Yoinks Ordaro back over the wall, and with the Everfrost to clean it up, no turret, going to grab another kill to their name.
And it's a really fantastic job from Turniips Tots. This bot lane, the denial of vision, really enabling this gameplay. These successful hooks after successful hooks. Really good to see. Really well played, and you can see they've earned this 5K gold lead at 16 minutes.
And I want to draw your attention quickly to the items we have in play. So if you look towards the sides of Turniips Tots, I can do basic algebra. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Merc Treads. So they do not want to get hit with any magic damage this game. Makes a good bit of sense here. I also think it's important. We see Swiftness Boots on Ordaro, not a very standard option, and we also see double Cloak of Agility, double Crit Cloak on the Protomorph. Any thoughts on any of those things?
I mean, it's going to be used in the long run, but it feels terrible in the moment. Nice Spell Shield on the Everfrost right there.
Forcing the flash out of Merlin for sure. And we see now Juggernaut has made their way into the bot lane. Warden's Mail picked up, so we're not going to likely see a Hullbreaker Alawi this game. I'm pretty happy about that. Gonna grab Trigger, gets rooted out of the jump actually, so gonna have to bounce away, but not gonna be able to do enough to buy themselves space. They didn't have flash, and after their slingshot got canceled, they had no way out. So free Rift Herald number 2 now for Turniips Tots. Oh, big combo, no turret, just, I mean, that's just Silas, baby.
Yeah, firing the Vexalt through just to do some minion damage. I mean, interesting positioning from Trigger, because most likely they had seen all 4 members of Turniips Tots in the top side, in the Herald area, even if not necessarily having active vision on all of them. So with the duo lane still being bot and trying to fight Juggernaut, who is way too big for that, trying to walk into a blind 3v4 situation, it just ends up with the result we saw there.
And New World Esports Titan now. Looks like they're making their way over to this dragon. They might be a bit interested. Juggernaut is top though, and no teleport available.
Yeah, so this is kind of the optimal situation. This is what New World needs to try to capitalize on. They're guaranteed a 5v4 in this, and so I want to see them get it done here.
Here we go, the Hex Flash over the wall. Shmi gonna go golden now. Off the bat, dragon on the hunt. Drop, Shadow Assault over the wall. Shmi goes down, bullet time, 3v5. Juggernaut still at the top lane here. No turret hijacks. The set ultimate encore, not going to find any 3v4 now, and this is where Seraphine gets her value. We see a flash forward from Trigger, able to grab No Turret, who goes golden as well, currently exhausted. Now Paranoia comes out, flash to safety. GG no rematch now in the back line, flashes to safety as well. Follow up, and Meet Your Beat, able to grab the dragon, also find a pair of kills, grabs Trigger to make it 3, 1v1ing now Ordaro. It's just a Seraphine left, there's nothing to do, flash over the wall, followed by Meet Your Beat, who wants this 4th and final kill, and ace. And your top laner's been splitting the entire time.
Oh my god, the 4v5 ace really just showing how much of a difference there is in the champions, the gold quantity. I almost cried seeing how Protomorph played that fight, chasing down the low health kills rather than sticking with the team and getting popped by No Turret. Anyways. Like, they got the kill on GG no Re. Cool. Awesome. Good job. But then was so far gone, it left the rest of the team with no damage to finish off Meet Your Beat. No damage to really be successful in that team fight, and dying anyways. Like, if Protomorph had, even dying, if Protomorph had gotten GG no Re and No Turret, like, sure. Okay, fine. The rest of the team got still popped by the rest of it, and it's unfortunate, and they lost. They didn't lose the inhib tower. That's a plus, so they only lost the inner top. But this is me kind of struggling to find silver linings on what was a fairly disastrous play.
Well, silver lining there, you got Mr. Shmi's flash. Maybe a bit too, hey, we're so far ahead, guys. Let me just hook them and see what happens. Well, you hooked them and you found out, and forced over the flash there. And now we're seeing these second and third items start to roll out for Turniips Tots, and this 10k gold lead, it's really going to start to make itself present on the scoreboard right now.
Ooh. And it's just every single roll. I mean, no turret, just
Finding the solo
finding
kill.
Trigger.
Let's bounce. Trigger not able to make it out of that one alive, and Turniips Tots, the jungle, it's all theirs. All the jungle is theirs, and New World Esports Titan are going to be forced to sit under their towers, grab some minions, clear some waves, and hopefully weather the storm, I suppose?
Yeah, just trying to safely farm it out with Sivir and Vex. Probably their best option here, because they sure as hell can't actually fight. The absolute suffocation of vision is pretty impressive, and it's just making it look so free. And yeah, this is just a 3-man Baron. The bullet time even came out. They have enough sustain, they have enough damage. Getting the inner bot turret too while at it. There's less and less options for NWE to be able to get back in. Even the 5-item 300 CS Sivir Dream. I mean, when you're against a Nocturne, a Silas, I don't know how you survive that. Just desperately run away?
That dream requires you to live for longer than 3 seconds, right, to dish out any real damage. That's kind of the issue, huh? I'm just so happy that this Alawi pick is working out. I'm so happy. I love seeing this champion once again. We're seeing a lot of that strength. She's so good in that 1v1 in the side lane. There's nobody really that can match her on New World Esports Titan, and she's just so far ahead. She's level 15, and the highest on anybody for New World Esports is 12. There's just no potential 1v1 happening there.
And it was a mere 15 minutes ago that Boogie had gotten the double buffs off of Meet Your Beat. Boogie was playing up, had all the gusto in the world, but just that lane, once it started going bad, it just went absolutely horrendous. And now we're seeing he's got the Iron Spike Whip and Tier 1 boots, where Alawi's got a finished Frozen Heart. It's just absolutely impossible. There is no... I don't even think Set as a champion has outplay potential in his kit that could turn this matchup.
When it rains, it pours, and it's definitely looking like a thunderstorm right now. The Paranoia over the wall, gonna get exhausted, Meet Your Beat here. Kind of isolated in 1v3, gets the Stride Breaker on 3 as well, and the Encore has been used now, hijacking it right back. No Turk gonna go, and Kingmaker not going to be able to find enough damage to dish out to Trigger, so Trigger gonna stay alive, Meet Your Beat now. Low on HP, Protomorph and Trigger have some backup now. Boogie gonna make their way over, so just picking off Merlin and Ordaro. Baron cracking down at these inhibitors, these turrets, not long for this world, and Turniips Tots in a very, very dominant position.
They're gonna go around the bend, are they gonna get all 3 inhibs, or are they just gonna get 2? Because they cracked the top inhib turret, but NWE is just about to be all respawned. The ever important... Oh, Merlin with the teleport.
Teleport here. Gonna actually have a big chunk of damage on Shmi. Drops the Shadow Assault. Gonna get silenced in response, though, and the bullet time flash over the wall. Not gonna be enough to save their support, so Trigger slingshots, and the Shadow Assault has gotten a reset, a cleanse from GG No Rematch, but Protomorph has the damage now. Double kill out. But their base is in shambles, their teammates are dying, and it doesn't have a teleport remaining to come back to it. So the third inhib will fall. The Cloud Dragon will go to Turniips Tots. And No Turt's gonna try and do some more magic here.
I keep waiting for that one death. You promised me
Shot here.
one death.
The Test of Spirit gonna find a number as well, and Juggernaut grabbing 2. Ordaro also gonna get their Spirit tested. The 1W gonna be enough. Trigger bouncing around, but won't be able to make it out alive. Only Protomorph and Ordaro remain, and standing up against the face of No Turf Juggernaut. It's just not looking very good. The Baron no longer available, at least going golden here on the minions. Boogie has respawned. Test of Spirit no longer available. Flash forward, gonna find the shutdown on the Silas, as well as the 1K on Juggernaut. So overstaying their welcome and giving away 1,500 gold for no reason.
I mean, if you're NWE, that's how it's got to start. That's what you're looking for. And I feel like I just cursed No Turd because I was just saying you promised me one death a game on average, and we hadn't gotten it yet. So there's that one. She gets the one. Now anything beyond this is just gonna ruin the stats.
Yeah, I mean, it's so if we play 2 games, then one game gets to have 2 deaths, and the other one only gets to have 1. That's the distribution there.
Ooh. And
And
I just noticed
after those shutdowns, they're only down 13,000 gold. That's easy, right?
I mean, I just noticed in Juggernaut's inventory, because you said thank goodness it wasn't going to happen, but you have some Hullbreaker gameplay. There's not that much gameplay left, but we do have a Hullbreaker on the Rift.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we're split pushing when the only tower remaining for New World Esports is one of their Nexus towers, but I respect it if the call is, of course, hey, we're just going to send or allowing the top lane and we're just going to sit at objectives and fight them. I guess that's a plan, right? But it does seem like there's not a lot of extra turret damage you could squeeze out of that Hullbreaker at this point.
So it looks like the jungle's all cleared out. We are gonna get the final stand, possibly. Either the final stand or the heroic comeback for NWE Titan right here. With teleports coming in, and ooh, here we go. Oh, the hook on trigger. They're going for the Zac.
Zac, maybe not the premium hook target in this case. Trigger able to grab some heals from the fountain now. 3 Barons, sorry, 3 of those super minion waves crashing in, but no Baron. So it is up on the map. We'll see if it looks like they're really just going to try and force this one in right now. The hijacked Encore finding 3, the bullet time as well. Paranoia comes out. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what lane you're in. No Turd exhausted. Leap of Fate able to find another couple. Trigger trying to stay alive, and the members, they may have lived, but the Nexus will fall, and that will be all she wrote. New World Esports going to drop a game. Turniips Tots going to be 1-0, and well, no Turd. They got their one death.
Okay. I thought for a second we were going to see Protomorph have a hero moment there, but the rest of Turniips Tots actually hit the Nexus instead of going for the kills.
They don't need to pad their stats that badly, apparently. So I would say, all in all, a pretty dominant game 1 here out of Turniips Tots.
Yeah, they were successful enough that they could kind of F around. Like they were definitely playing it like they knew they had a lead. They made some ego plays there, and they did get punished for it, but most of the time they had just such a gold lead that they could get away with whatever they tried. And it was precisely as fun as I hoped that comp would be.
I mean, you talked about it in Champions Select. This game was kind of going to revolve around what Shmi was able to do on the Blitzcrank. If they were just going to let Sivir and let Seraphine sit there and free scale the entire game, it was going to be kind of nightmare scenario for Turniips Tots. But we saw consistently throughout all of that early game, the mid game, and even in those late game team fights, except for the one where they flashed over the wall and died, they did a great job just finding relevant hooks and getting picks for their team with that.
Oh. God, and I just noticed Ordaro didn't even actually get a mythic that game. That's how starved the support was there. Because Protomorph actually looked like they were doing damage. I was worried for a second at that Nexus defense. Protomorph was eating through the giant minion waves with the 3 completed items. But stats, the pure KDA doesn't tell the story of the game they had.
Well said, well said. And that, I believe, is all we have for you guys for game number 1. But we will, figure out what these teams want to do. We will be back for game 2 draft in just a little bit here. So we will see you guys then.
in dance chase and whispers before they all just fade. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? I will find a this porcelain mirage may start to break. Each piece a reminder, every single little mistake. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? Tell me why it won't ever be the same. I'll burn it all, no matter who's to blame. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And every time I close my eyes, a little less of you remains. I know you're slipping further from me now. Am I too far away? Tell me why
If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better walk that walk. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better walk that walk. Lot of wannabes, only one of me. They try to put me under pressure, put me under siege. Yeah, I'm a champ, I'm a legend, I'm a beast. Used to be the underdog, I got off the leash. I'm done barking, I only bite. Drop the roof for the night like it's only right. Hold it tight, both hands on the holy grail. Come and get it when you fail, you can hold the hell. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better know how to walk that walk. Tell the arc, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Yeah, I'm ready, let's run it. If you ready, let's run it. You know I run the game. I catch you running your mouth and then you run away. I bet you see me when I'm winning, you got nothing to say. I bet a bag on it, that's a big bet, it's like 100K. Yeah, double or nothing, I know he bluffing. If he yapping, I'ma hush him, it's no discussion. Show him that I really do it and he really doesn't. If you really want it, then it's time to run it. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better know how to walk that walk. Tell the arc, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it.
Winning the game, yeah, I used to be the underdog. Exposing cats, I'm throwing everybody overboard. I see it, then I back it up just like a spinal cord. Underdog, I'm flipping the script like it's a catalog. Look at me, I'm a reflection of what you wanna be. King on the throne, none of you punks can ever humble me. Crown on my head, weighs heavy like a forestry. Guess that's the price that you pay when you're royalty. Blood, sweat, and tears, so I must be possessed. I'm a god in the flesh, makes sense why I'm blessed. Got my competition stressed, killing them all, who's next? Shoot your shot, I wear a vest, so you better aim for the head. Bringing the flame, where do I aim? Cocking the bag, letting the bang. A lot of losing in the game, but it's all part of the plan. Let's run it. Real as it gets, so it's tipping 100. And if you do the same, then you know we gotta
Run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the
Welcome back, everybody. Week 8, Gladiator League, Titan Esports. We have Turniips Tots on the blue side, up a game, currently playing off against New World Esports Titan, who are on the red side. And I am, of course, back with Shot Duck, and we're here for hopefully an exciting game too as well.
Things went pretty bad pretty quick for NWE in that last game. I feel like they almost peaked at like level 3 when they shut down Turniips on the greedy solo invade, but the overall macro, the lane dominance from all 4 of the lanes really from Turniips Tots really put on a pretty spectacular show.
Yeah, it was an impressive showing from them. Do you have any thoughts on, do we think we need to see some big changes in the draft from New World Esports this game, or do you think it was more decision-making and micro within the game itself?
I mean, there's always the risk of overcorrecting, like trying to figure out where the game went wrong and just trying to wipe the slate clean, go back to the drawing board and go completely, totally different. And like I can see some components that worked well there, but in the overall, things just didn't click. And maybe it's even just stuff they need to be aware of. Like maybe their scouting didn't have the aggressive blitzcrank pick as something they needed to be ready for when they went for the B1 Seraphine. Maybe they need to throw bans elsewhere instead of 4 to 5 bans on Turniips themselves. Because the jungle bans clearly, like, while they knocked him down the tier list, still had a very successful Nocturne game.
Even with that early mishap, like you mentioned, getting spotted out on the invade and killed. And, we see New World Esports have opted to leave Seraphine open, so Turniips Tots, they will take that straight to the bank.
I mean, do we see NWE go for the blitzcrank that's hypothetically a counter pick here? Especially because we know the support for NWE does play the Hook champions.
Yeah, or Daro, like you mentioned, currently has the highest assist per game in the Gladiator League as well at a 17. So I believe that maybe a bit hindered after last game, but we do see a Hook engaged champion like Thresh, which I'm actually really excited about.
Yeah, I believe I can double check. I believe Thresh is his most played champion, and that is a champion that has that just does so much. I remember back when he first came out, I looked at him and I was just like, why would you ever pick any other champion when this one does literally everything other than heal? Like, every other thing you can think of, Thresh just does so well. And my read on the balance of that was pretty wrong, as Thresh seems to go up and down on the tier list, but still a really just good, enjoyable champion to play.
Super, super fun for sure. And we did see New World Esports. We're seeing some more interesting jungle picks right now. Both, again, Diana could of course go mid, but Diana, Xin Zhao both picked up, and I generally don't think of those as being sort of the strongest picks in the meta right now.
I am trying to remember, did the patch come in where Diana was rebalanced away from the Sunfire Cape build, or is that the one that's actually coming in tomorrow?
I believe that's the one coming in tomorrow.
Okay. So, as far as I know, that's the strongest meta Diana build that is kind of a terror when it gets going. You would think Sunfire Cape is going to be lacking in damage as a tank mythic, but not the case. And it is a really strong pick. It flexible between mid and jungle, like you said, so they haven't committed to anything, but the Taric pick means that NWE has to be careful of committing too hard to a bot lane draft when they have no idea where the Seraphine is going.
Boom. Tark. Love it. Huge fan of that one. The sort of whatever you want to call it, the Guardian style, the counter engage. Tark is just so good into stuff like Thresh because when he hooks you, of course, he forces you to get into range, and that makes your laser beams very easy to stun with. So I love the Tark as a Thresh pick. It's also just fun to see these champions that don't come out every day, like the Tark, like the Alawi. It's just cool to see people play. I won't say they're one tricks, but they're sort of hidden pocket picks. As Jinx is the AD carry paired with Thresh, pretty standard bot lane there.
Yeah, Thresh having a lot of ways to protect the Jinx to let her scale up. I think it's a really interesting choice for NWE to go for another scaling pick when they really just didn't have the ability to scale last game. But I definitely have to agree. I love seeing Taric. When I was playing more, I could not imagine a world in which I got excited for Taric. But then I saw Taric jungle, and he got on my radar, and I got a little bit more interested. He made me smile, and now as mostly a spectator, I genuinely love seeing Taric. It's a lot of fun. Do you
Gotta love those Taric jungle picks for sure.
Do you think there's a world in which it's a Seraphine Taric bot lane? Is that a real thing, or would that be kind of fraudulent?
I would say that I would consider Seraphine Tark to not have a ton of strong synergy together. I would expect the Seraphine to likely go mid. But I do think that Seraphine is just such a safe champion that you can kind of just get away with playing at AD carry or AP carry, whatever, even if you have something that doesn't synergize super well with it like Tark. Maybe that's going to end up being what works best for their draft. We do see more mid lane bans coming out, so it does imply New World Esports think that this is Seraphine in the bot lane rather than the mid.
Yep. Yeah, the Talia, the Azir. That's going to be a super interesting lane. I have no idea how that would work, Seraphine Taric, because Taric really wants to be able to get the stuns. I just don't see that much synergy from the two champions as a duo. Yeah, weird stuff. But then the Victor pick really locking NWE into more scaling, which has me worried. And it does mean that as a Diana jungle, is Victor that much a counter to Seraphine? Do you think that's a super good matchup?
Well, if we think about the strengths of Seraphine, a lot of that in the mid lane does come from the fact that she has fantastic wave clear and has really, really strong team fighting. And Victor also does kind of fall under those same, I guess, archetypes. Once he has those upgraded spells, he is able to effectively clear a minion wave against Seraphine, and he also can dish out a ton of damage. So that's sort of one of the upsides of the Victor into the Seraphine is you're trading some of that sustainability and huge CC potential that Seraphine has with the Encore. You trade that for a bunch of damage. And so if they're able to use that effectively from the New World Esports side, then I think Victor is a pretty reasonable answer to Seraphine mid.
That's a Garen.
Yeah, let's go.
I was waiting for that to be a hover, but that got locked in.
Juggernaut taking their name seriously with the Alawi and then Garen picks.
True.
I mean, that is just like, who plays those champions right now?
Part of me was a little bit hoping that, like Chitin, this was going to be a Garen mid lane playing absolutely ridiculous, but it makes much more sense that the Garen goes top because that seems to be the wheelhouse that Boogie has in this top lane, that the side lane just like the bruisers like that, and the set performance wasn't the most awe-inspiring, and so something like Garen can kind of just dominate a lot of matchups.
And we see the Aphelios also picked up. I'm certainly a big fan of this Aphelios going into the AD carry compared to, the Seraphine AD carry and something else mid. So I do like that pick a lot.
Whew. And I lost my view on draft, but that last pick being Camille, I I like the Camille. I don't know how much juice that champion has. Like, do you think she can kill the Garen? Is Garen too beefy?
Listen, when you got Cho'Gath ultimate on a 12-second cooldown, you can do whatever you want. That is all I will say. I do think the Camille pick is good. I tend to think Camille pretty strong into these sort of bruiser juggernaut champions like Garen. So I do like it for that reason. I also think Camille, one of those champions, she has a lot of value against stuff like Seraphine and Aphelios. These more immobile, squishier backline champions. If you're able to find a really strong flank, you get a ton of value. You can hopefully one-shot one of those super important characters in your team fight. So I do sort of like that. And I think we will only have to wait and see. We have hopefully some interesting game ahead of us. Tarek, again, not a common champion. Garen in the top lane. I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, the composition overall, I've got to say, I like NWE's a lot more. They don't have a ton of like traditional just walk up and engage like a Scion ult and Ornn ult. But if Diana and Camille can get a good flank and a good dive, the three-man shell of the Thresh Victor Jinx is super strong and can very much kite out something like a Garen, something like a Xin Zhao that's trying to dive in. So NWE has a lot of tools that I really like going into this game. But after how good Turniips Tots looked from the last game, is it enough? Is it enough to draft well?
Well, that will be the question that we will ask, and hopefully will be answered once we jump into game here. I believe we will hop to a very brief pause once again, and then we will be back on the Rift, and we will be able to answer ShotDuck's question. Will Tark and Garen be real picks? Is this all just fake news, or will Turniips Tots be able to pull out a clean 2-0? So stick around and find out. And we were not gone for very long here. Now loading on to the Rift. Turniips Tots once again on the blue side, playing up against New World Esports Titan on the red side, 7-1. Turniips Tots 6-2 for New World Esports. And as you know, is standard these days, top laners Flash is so last season, right?
But I mean, it's such different ideas, but we're also getting an invade. We've got a 5-stack from NWE, and not even so much an invade as it looks like a defensive formation. Is Garen gonna take the bait? But I mean, so Camille taking Ignite, that's pretty standard these days. She's one of a couple top laners. It's what, her, Gwen, Sejuani that really, oh my god, Garen, Juggernaut,
Oh,
please.
Juggernaut, no, don't walk in. Oh, the death sentence. Gotta be exactly that. Doesn't matter, you can pop your ghost, Juggernaut. Gotta at least get the flash out from Ordaro.
That's
So
both
traded-
summoners out of Ordaro.
Yeah. And First Blood as well, onto that Thrash. So definitely not what you would give it if you could choose.
Yeah, that's some plus, some minus, because being down both of those summoners is actually pretty big. I mean, he has Hex Flash, so the loss of Flash isn't that impactful, except in a defensive state. like if they're forced to play on the back foot, Ordaro has no way out. But if he maintains the aggressive positioning, if they have the front foot in that lane, then yeah, Hex Flash is functionally pretty similar. But until that Ignite comes back up, they definitely have that disadvantage in summoners, and it's kind of up to Turniips Tots to take advantage of that.
Yeah, at least Ordaro does get to come to lane with that pair of boots and a pink ward, so they got a little bit out of that invade. But overall, I think the biggest winner there probably going to be Merlin, who will now be sitting on those 20 extra passive stacks, and that will get them to that first upgraded spell a lot sooner than normal.
Yeah, that's actually kind of huge for Victor, because the more so than really items or XP, those passive stacks are what he really needs to become a real boy.
Yeah, that's totally how he accelerates his scaling. And we actually did see there in the bot lane, Ordaro, the Protomorph and Ordaro, they did hit level 2 first, but because they didn't have Flash available on that Thresh, weren't able to make an aggressive flay forward. Just, you know, one of the trade-offs of that, those things do end up mattering, even though it may not look like it.
Juggernaut trying to bait in Boogie.
Trading it up. Boogie, unfortunately, the hook shot gonna go wide, grab the wall behind, and does not have the flash, so Juggernaut going to be able to claim this kill. Meet your beat, making sure to donate that one to the top lane as well.
Yeah, desperately watching that hook shot cooldown, because I think if it came back up, Juggernaut would have gone down to the grasp, the Q, the ignite. Had the ability to, but good on Meet Your Beat for donating it over to Juggernaut, because otherwise this could be a rough matchup, being down the Ghost, and even just taking Ghost instead of Flash. I feel like there's so many Camille plays that you really want to be able to Flash. Whoa, Merlin losing his Flash right away, just wanting nothing of this Xin Zhao.
That definitely is going to be one of those strengths of the Seraphine pick in the bot lane, though. The Death Sentence going to land. Exhaust dropped onto Protomorph. Going to get cleansed, though, and with the purple gun, going to get rooted out. But Protomorph going to have to flash away, gets excited, and no Turt making a play in the mid lane as well. So after the one kill in the bot, Meet Your Beat not going to quite grab that max distance. And so, no Turt flash gone. Most of the bot lane summoners looking pretty burned for the NWE side, but they were at least able to grab that tar kill. Mr. Shmee now walking back to lane.
Yeah, really nice hook landing there for Ordaro. Burning a lot of summoners, though, for just the one kill on Tarek and a 3 CS lead, 2 CS lead, which is going to be gone when the wave pushes out. I mean, I can't really criticize because they spent the summoners, they got the kill, but... Oh, Merlin
here. Set up a tent, called a camp. Meet Your Beat here. Third time in the mid lane. We are only at 5 minutes in. There's some good trades going on in the top lane, though. So pretty standard stuff, and this is what I would expect out of the Seraphine Victor lane before Victor has those spells upgraded. The CS lead, it's just going to be Seraphine favored.
I'm wondering if we're going to see a more aggressive Diana build, going for that recurve bow first instead of building towards the Sunfire. But, like, I mean, the end goal is Nashor's Tooth plus Sunfire Cape anyways, so however she gets to it, probably obviously the recurve bow gives more early dueling power than a Bami's Cinder, which I don't think anyone ever is excited about building a Bami's Cinder, but we do it anyways.
Yeah, I do believe the higher win rate is the Nashor's first and then the Sunfire, though I have seen Diana's build other way around. So it does make some sense that we are going to see that Nashor's come out first. And both junglers chilling up in this top side, first Dragon Infernal on the map. And overall, you know, after these first couple of skirmishes, the invade quieted down just a touch here.
Yeah, everyone's suddenly gotten... just scared to make a play. They're all just playing very safe, very standard. If this was the LCS, we would get the 3-slice broadcast, which I kind of love to see. And we got to talk to production, see if we can get that. If we can get that exciting stuff.
That really would be pretty cool for sure. So these junglers now realizing the dragon up on the map, and the priority is now in the bot lane, but Shmi flashing forward, not going to hit the laser beam. Flash backwards now. Ordaro got that flash back up. Going to land the death sentence, flay away. Combo with the ignite, going to allow Trigger to grab Meet Your Beat. That lets the Jinx get excited. Ordaro going to be taken down. Not quite actually. And Protomorph, the reset on the passive. GG, no rematch. Still firing away, but not a lot of HP. No support, no jungle to help. No Turret has it, level 6, the Encore. As has Merlin. And so the HP bars, they've been chunked out enough where they can't actually do the dragon in the end.
Yeah, the full health Seraphine and the full health Aphelios are both very scary. Aphelios actually doesn't have ult, otherwise we were going to get one of those Reddit highlight plays with the big Aphelios instant pop team fight ult.
Couple hundred years of gameplay, you know?
Exactly. Still very scary though. The Encore was available, and so I like the call from NWE rather than playing taking the risk, because they've got a lead, they've got 1,500 gold, but the giving up the triple kill right there, especially with Jinx having the 150 gold shut down, that is not a triple kill you want to give over, whether it's the Seraphine or the Aphelios getting the gold. Now they can. Yeah, they can just reset and come right back to the dragon.
Exactly. You don't have to overforce your hand. You let your AD carry back, get a couple of components. Rune Quiver now picked up for Protomorph. And this is where I think a champion like Jinx really does show her strength, but outnumbered, bot lane pushing away. Turniips Tots going to be able to grab this Infernal Dragon sort of out from under New World Esports Titan, though not without them recognizing that it was happening.
Yeah, just bad wave states, being late to the rotations. A single Infernal Drake, while more impactful than 2 patches ago, is still not the end of the world. But it always feels bad giving away the fun, sexy, aggressive, offensive Drake like that. Speaking of which, we do have it. I think I saw the icon for Hextech Drake coming up next.
Ooh, Encore gonna land a flash forward from Meet Your Beat. Merlin gonna flash away as well. The Crescent Guard now used, able to take down Trigger. And the Death Sentence now in the bot lane. So the AD carries have hit the level 6 benchmark. Exhaust comes out onto Protomorph. There's the Moonlight Vigil, gonna get a bunch of crescendoms. And spin. They are just going to throw those chakrams left, right, and center. Merlin also going to get dove in the mid lane. Going to get stunned on the way out, though. So grabbing a kill in return. And Super Mega Death Rocket has been used. Look at all those chakrams down there, but not going to be able to find more than just the support's death.
God, that combo on Merlin from Notert was like, I can feel the frustration. Just mashing the key, desperately trying to flash, but not being able to go anywhere from the root. From the Encore, the despair when Meet Your Beat shows up and is ready to seal the deal there.
Listen, but I know that Boogie doesn't have Divine Sunder yet, but it's looking pretty good for this Garen at this point.
Yeah. I don't know how Garen has himself a lead. I guess it's just a more straightforward gameplay pattern and is just safe. Ooh, we've got a 2v2 up here.
Both the junglers showing up top side here. We're going to go. The Hextech ultimatum dropped onto Juggernaut, who is going to be taken out before they're able to use that Demacian Justice. Able to drop the Ghost. Allow Meet Your Beat to pick up Boogie, but kind of get taken back down. Trigger able to find one of those kills in return. So the 2v2 going to come out New World Esports Titan favored.
Boogie survived so much longer than I thought he would. Just the grasp, the possibly triumph, and dipping in and out of the bush. I feel like threw off Meet Your Beat, who started hitting Trigger before the Camille was dead. But I mean, really sweet play. We were just talking about how things were going pretty well for the Garen, and Camille getting a chunk of gold, Diana getting a chunk of gold is a big plus if you're NWE Titan. That's exactly what you want to see.
I mean, the players are legally obligated to int whenever we make a call complimenting one of them. So that, I mean, that was kind of
I
expected
know.
after we said the Garen was not doing too bad. As 2 minutes left until this next Hextech Dragon. In the meantime, EDKers are going to sit here, farm out the bot lanes, and hopefully make their way towards that first item. You know, I'd like to see, I guess, Gale Force on this Aphelios, maybe Kraken Slayer. Any ideas there?
Whew. I mean, I think there's never like a bad time for Gale Force. Just the extra mobility is so good.
Speaking of extra mobility, gonna dash on in there. Boogie gonna, alongside the hookshot, grab a kill with the help of triggers. So Juggernaut not looking too good anymore.
Oh, and No Turrets up here with Meteor Beat. They are looking for revenge, but looks like they're walking away. Boogie in these trades in top lane, in these ganks, is stressing me out so much with how low the health bar gets before the Camille healing comes in, because I keep waiting to see the Garen ult. And I saw the sword start spawning. He pressed the R button. It just didn't come down, and by that point, Camille had already healed past the execute range. And that's going to start getting worse now that Camille has finished the Divine Sunderer. The healing...
Ooh, there's the flash forward, gonna get the cleanse out of Protomorph. Moonlight Vigil dropped. Blue, purple available, but now the bot lane looking outnumbered. Turniips Tots bit off more than they could chew. Cosmic Radiance going to be used. Able to keep GG No Rematch alive for long enough, but alive for long enough to get caught in the Hextech ultimatum. As the whole squad for NWE in the bot lane, making sure they get this dragon, I suppose.
Come on down, I think that's 2 kills. Both went over to Boogie there and just teleport out. Probably missed, what, a couple minions? Missed the plate gold down here in bot, but you want that to be going to the Jinx, to the Diana anyways. First turret of the game. 2 NWE Titan, and this is looking very different from what we saw game 1.
We saw such a great, strong game 1 from Turniips Tots. It seemed like they were just completely impenetrable all the way across the map. No turret, not making quite the same choice in this game, though. The Moonfall going to find 2 Encore, also going to grab the 2 in the pit. So a 4-man, going to put the box up as well. Trigger flashes over the wall. Now the damage is coming out from this Victor Merlin. Going to continue to hit. Protomorph taken down, gives the shutdown away, and No Turret still alive, doesn't have the ultimate available anymore, but GG No Rematch walks their way in, flashes forward, gonna land the root, now rooted up, going golden. We see Merlin afraid of the mid and the jungle now, and with that gravity field put up, no way for GG No Rematch to fight this, unless of course the Q comes up off cooldown. Sidestep not gonna be enough, but Ordaro has come to safety. Flash forward, Death Sentence gonna go wide with the red buff slow, and the purple gun still left, I believe.
I think Ordaro can get this.
Surely we got Gravitum, right? There we go, there we go. All right. Any Blast Cone? Do we make it over the wall? All right, looks like they made it to safety. So some trades, a lot of skirmish in there, and I'm not really sure who came out in the end.
What an absolutely insane encore that was for No Turret. Getting, I think that was all like 4 of them between the 2 sides of the dragon wall there. Absolutely bonkers Seraphine ult. Turning the tides of that after NWE was starting to dive over, going for the fight, going for the kills. I got another fight already.
And we're gonna get off the dragon, but the Super Mega Death Rocket gonna clean up No Turret. So it will be an NWE drag number 2. No Turret, not quite the. They've hit their death cap here if they want to keep that 1.5 death per game out. And the top lane here, an aggressive dive. Hextech Ultimatum gonna, at the very least, claim the life of Juggernaut in the mid lane. GG No Rematch picks up that Gale Force, goes forward, but Merlin is gonna burn this 80 carry down. Not if the Moonlight Vigil is used on the Inferno, but it won't be enough even with all the healing. So a trade in the mid lane, a trade in the top lane, and the gold lead remaining about the same.
Yeah, I mean, the top lane one works out well for Juggernaut just because the minions were all under turret, so that's XP, that's gold that Boogie's gonna be missing. But just giving up the kill. Also, kind of rough. Boogie isn't exactly getting any weaker at this point in the game, and Camille with 1.5 items versus Garen with the Stride Breaker, and just like individual item wise, the items Camille builds are, I feel like, better than the items Garen builds, because we've got the Giant's Belt, which I would guess is going to go into a Dead Man's Plate. I think Giant's Belt still builds into Dead Man's.
I will admit my knowledge of the Giant's Belt items actually a bit lacking in it, because I'm not much of a tank player myself. Dead Man's would make some sense. I do definitely agree, though. The Camille items, they're just such bigger power spikes, I feel, than what Garen can really dish out. You know, Stride Breaker will be helpful, but I'm not actually sure if this Stride Breaker can get on top of any of the members of New World Esports very effectively.
Yeah, exactly. Garen's going to run in and just get flayed back, and like Glacial Augment is going to do Glacial Augment things.
Juggernaut here uses that Stride Breaker that we just talked about, but not really going to be enough. The Hextech Ultimatum ensuring that kill over to Boogie, who is eating good. Cho'Gath ultimates on the stack. Sorry, on that Q. Continuing to stack up 5 kills now in that top lane.
And for the sake of tracking cooldowns, we did see the Super Mega Death Rocket fly on through. In case Juggernaut managed to get out, head back towards the turret. But the hard focus top lane, I actually like as a refocusing of the strategy from NWE after seeing how Juggernaut just absolutely dominated that lane in game 1. And like, okay, Meteor Beat showed up there, made his presence known, got stuff done, but here's a 4v4?
Encore is actually able to tag Merlin, and the Cosmic Radiance is going to hopefully keep Meteor Beat alive for long enough. The Exhaust going to force out the flash from Trigger, but we're still going here. Moonlight Vigil just going to barely miss, hits the middle of everybody, not going to clip anybody in the end. Juggernaut now TP'd in. So we're just 5v5 and Hookshot going to go down. The Super Mega Death Rocket back up, but with the Seraphine, thank you very much. Plenty of heals and shields to go around for the whole team, and we have 90 seconds until this next dragon.
I like just literally all the alts, all the summoner spells going on cooldown 90 seconds before an objective. Like, okay, most of the alts are probably going to be back up, but it means the macro play is going to have to be solid from these teams, because teleports were used, and that's not a short cooldown. That's it's I mean, we're probably not going to get a 5v5. We didn't get a 5v5 there either. But we aren't going to see all 5 at this dragon, so it's just allocating the resources, trying to figure out who spends the time to rotate down.
And I do think it is interesting with these comps. We have 2 sort of protect the hyper carry style plans. You know, Jinx and Aphelios, they're just such high DPS threats. But their general, their weakness is, of course, the mobility. They're not really able to make anything. They don't have dashes built in. They don't have spell shields or anything like that. So it really will come down to which team can protect their carry better, because both of them at this point are able to dish out damage. Of course, Protomorph being this far ahead will be able to dish out more of it faster. But that really will be, I think, the big part of these next team fights.
Yep. And I just realized that did become a Gale Force on this Aphelios. I love the items, so I can't really... I can't say much. Get some fighting up in top lane, but nothing gonna come of that. Kindle Gem and Giant's Belt. I might actually get a little bit sad if Garen goes second item Warmog. I can't imagine anyone's gonna go second item Warmog.
Mr. Shmi here caught out the death sentence over the wall. I'm not going to be able to protect their AD carry much either. So I don't think the Turniips Tots are going to be willing to fight for this next dragon, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think unless they decide to commit to Xin Zhao diving headfirst into a steal attempt, which he is hanging around, so there's at least the thought of it. But, okay, yeah, now NWE is pulling the dragon out of the pit, getting it outside of the range of the wind becomes lightning. That's 2-1 on the Dragon score. It is 21 and a half minutes for the second Dragon to be stacked. So, like you were saying in game 1, we're unlikely to see Soul be a thing. But those defensive stats are gonna feel good if you're NWE. Like, Mountain Dragon is pretty sweet. And with the Sunfire being completed on Diana, Camille going for the HP stacking build, I'm hoping that's a Titanic Hydra instead of Ravenous Hydra, because I think Ravenous Hydra is just not a great item, and Titanic Hydra is so good on her, especially with Sunbird giving the HP. Yeah, the little difference, and even just the Thresh giving armor MR with the Sunfire, or the Locket of the Iron Solari passive, like those defensive stats are gonna feel good. We have a Baron being started.
Yeah, but unfortunately, GG rematch on the wrong side of the map here. Cosmic Radiance gonna be used alongside the Crescent Guard. It is still a 3v4 though. Hextech Ultimatum in the back line. Merlin over the wall, able to dish out a bunch. Encore gonna find a number, but the numbers are just not in favor of Turniips Tots. 3v5, now a 2v5 as the AD carry has made their way back up, and the damage bit of HP has been chunked off of NWE Ultimates, now all down for them. They do still have Moonlight Vigil available alongside Juggernaut's ultimate. Will they try and make a play for it? There goes the Moonlight Vigil. Trigger over the wall, gonna try and find the AD carry, not gonna be enough. Demasi Justice doesn't quite find the execute. Protomorph in the back line, 1 HP. Gonna be able to find the Garen, but GG No Rematch is still hitting lethal tempo stacked up. Just Sweet Footwork, I lied actually, in the double kill over to Merlin now. So the Baron might not actually, looks like the HP bar is a bit too chunked, so just gonna take the team fight win and try and push it down mid.
Yeah, getting the 3 kills with all the resources expended there is fantastic, and now the NWE can just lather, rinse, repeat, go right on back, make the same play. They don't have teleport on Merlin, so probably Boogie ends up being the split pusher in that scenario. I can't help but wonder if that goes differently. Like, Protomorph was so low and was backed into the Baron pit. If Juggernaut comes in there and has Flash instead of the Ghost, like, that could have been just a really easy Flash QR, take out this super fed Jinx, get the chunk of gold there. And that teamfight looks so different, and I could see a situation in which Turniips Tots comes out ahead on that. It's only an 8k gold, quote unquote, only an 8k gold lead. Like, I feel like the fights are still very winnable under the right circumstances. Like, we have the Seraphine ult, which is absolutely massive. I'm dying to see, like, the Encore and the Moonlight Vigil stacked on top of each other for the big AoE teamfight dream. And it's just, yeah, things didn't quite work out in that Baron pit, and it just gets worse instead of getting better with every almost like that.
It does feel like we're running out of maybe opportunities for the Turniips Tots squad right now. That last fight, like you mentioned, it was pretty close. It did feel like it was kind of almost gonna just barely, maybe at the end there, Turniips Tots were gonna pull it out, and they weren't able to. But with every passing fight like that, they're just slipping further behind in gold and experience, and that's just a really tough place to be. So GG No Rematch, they have picked up that second item, but there's still a full item behind Protomorph, and it's just hard to play the game at this point for them.
Yeah, like, the Jinx is fully online. Like, we're not looking at scaling anymore. 3 items in, having the Kraken, the LDR, and the Rapid Fire Cannon. I always loved Rapid Fire Cannon. Like, I don't play AD carry, but I think that item's really sweet. Giving the additional range, it feels bonkers. And I got worried for Protomorph for a minute in that Baron fight, because when Meet Your Beat went in and was... Ooh, got a fight?
Stepped a bit too far up. Gonna get punished for that one. That is what you do when you don't got vision in the jungle.
But yeah, there was a moment there where the fight was a bit chaotic. The pick on to Meet Your Beat came through, and he was in melee range of Protomorph. And I was like, is this how it happens? Is this how they get it? But Protomorph just did enough damage. There was no way. There was no way back from that, and it just ended up being a fantastic pick that led to a fantastic series of plays.
And yep, with that, now NWE gonna grab that next Mountain Dragon. So 5 minutes away from this Mountain Soul. And again, we are running out of time here now. 10,000 gold lead for New World Esports Titan. Zanya's picked up now, making it so hard to find kills on these carries. I mean, it's just hard to play, and the options, they're running out of time. The Baron likely going to be the next target here for NWE. I mean, is there, like, what's the dream scenario here for Turniips Tots? Like, what's the dream scenario? How can we even, like, conceive of getting back into this game?
I mean, they've kind of got to hope they can pull NWE into this choke point and just get the dream layering of these AoE ultimates while getting once the like CC runs out, the Taric ult can come through and give them invulnerability for the entire rest of the relevant fight, and then they just clean it up. That's such a situational like wish list of
That's a lot of it.
Yeah. Garen splitting bot. Juggernaut and Boogie both have TP. Looks like we've got a bit of a Baron dance here, but yeah, I don't know if they saw GG No Re go back to base, but as soon as the channel finished, NWE peeled off and went straight for the Baron, and there is just no way. This objective is done, and now all 5 of these Titans are heading out, running straight to mid.
Yeah, and finally they realize they have a 10,000 gold lead. They can actually take some objectives, which, you know, you do like to see, able to recognize that. Whether they spot out GG No Rematch or just had that feeling it's time to go, they were able to do it. And so now it really is going to be how much can they grab with this Baron. They are incentivized to fight with those stat buffs from the Baron buff. So I would expect to see them try and force something maybe, unless of course Merlin gets a bit caught out here. There comes the flank. Juggernaut gonna drop the ghost. We saw if Protomorph can live, but with the death sentence they can't. Encore also not gonna find any, and now it's all about New World Esports Titan. Moonfall not gonna find anyone, so with the Cosmic Radiance, they will be able to get out, but it's 5 members against 4. You don't have your top laner anymore, and you don't have the Baron buff, so it's just a losing scenario.
The wave clear looking honestly kind of surprisingly good. I wouldn't have thought with the Ardent Sensor second item that Seraphine killed minions, especially Baroned up minions this well. But Aphelios is probably doing a lot more of that than I'm giving him credit for.
We see the hook shot now goes in. Hex Tech ultimate as well. Crescent Guard already been used, and Trigger doesn't have ultimate, but they do have the stopwatch, able to buy themselves some space. Boogie gonna get taken down here. The shutdown over to meet your beat. GG No Rematch just gonna try and dish out what damage he can, but it's just the Jinx show. Welcome to Arcane, ladies and gentlemen. Protomorph gonna auto you all to death. Get excited. The shutdown will at least come down for Juggernaut, but this is not gonna be enough. A wipe now, and New World Esports Titan going to be the ones to finish out game 2. Impressive.
Yeah, just one hell of a comeback from that game 1, being able to steal their mental, come back with a super good draft to counter the interesting, I'm gonna call it, draft out of Turniips Tots there. I love to see it. Like, there's so many situations in which after such a one-sided game 1, the one team is just like, turn off the microphone, just let the game finish. But that's why we have a battle for first place here rather than a more spread out league.
And at the end of the day, New World Esports Titan, they just did a great job. They got that early gold lead, and they just never let go. We saw it started out as a couple hundred from that early invade, and I'm not sure if there was actually a single point in that game where Turniips Tots had a gold advantage. So just really clean, solid League of Legends. That's really do what you love to see at the top of this Gladiator League. Clean, solid League of Legends. We're not here to make a bunch of mistakes. And they ran away with that. What started as a 200 gold lead, they never gave it back. So, like I said, impressive showing here from Game 2 New World Esports, and we'll see what Turniips Tots can do in Game 3. And welcome back, everybody. Game number 3. Turniips Tots 1-1 now against New World Esports Titan. And we are back to our game 1 sides where Turniips Tots did come out victorious from that red side position. I am, of course, back with Shot Duck again. So what do you think? You think we're going to see another Tarek, Alawi, Garen type draft from Turniips Tots?
I like it was at least kind of fun. We had some good times. We got to talk about Tarek. The Alawi was wildly successful. I kind of want to see more of that. I'm a little bit holding my breath to see if Seraphine B1 gets picked again and just how fraudulent the pick is, because it has a 0% win rate in this series.
Listen, I think that is just the circumstances. I don't think that reflects the strengths of the champion. And Turniips Tots, they seem to agree with me here. At least they're on my side. Maybe New World Esports is on your side in this case. Passing up on that B1 Seraphine. Turniips Tots probably going to snipe it away. And we see that Diana picked again. That was, of course, the jungler that New World Esports were playing last game. And it seems like they really liked that pick.
Yeah, the Diana looked really good. It was tough for the Xin Zhao to really get anything going when that was a previously banned out pick, something comfortable for Meet Your Beat. So I like the Diana coming back. It's just a really strong pick until we see how tomorrow's patch shakes out. And tomorrow's patch doesn't really look like it's going to change much, just push her more in favor of an AP heavy build instead of Sunfire. So maybe she'll be a one-shot machine again. But just a very strong pick right now. And I like that NWE is sticking with what worked.
It's always important to not try and over solve your problems, especially if you are winning the games, right? So once again, picking the Thresh here, which is the answer that they had to the Seraphine last game. And I do think it's interesting. It is a very early Olaf.
Yeah. I'm curious if that's flexible. I know, at least in the patch notes, and in the past, Olaf was primarily a jungler, but then when they did the mini rework on him, he really became a top laner heavily, and it would be on brand for the top lane matchups we've seen so far tonight. It's been just bruisers, juggernauts, beefy champions up there. I'm counting Camille as a beefy champion, despite her svelte elderly figure. So Olaf would be on brand, but that early of a pick for a top laner feels like bait.
Yeah, I won't say that it feels like bait necessarily. More so, it's just really different from what we tend to see out of these Gladiator League drafts. We often see a really heavy priority on the bot lane and the jungle roles. And very rarely do we see a really early picked mid laner or top laner unless there's a super broken pick. Like, I believe Tilia was very strong for 1 or 2 weeks, and she was very common.
Oh, God, yeah.
But outside of that, we see these tend to be saved for the second round of picks. So it is interesting to see Olaf this early. I will be curious if this Olaf does go top, like you mentioned, if it'll go to the jungle, and how this will impact the draft for New World Esports Titan.
Yeah, they seem to think it's going to be a jungle Olaf because their game 1 strategy of just ban anything Meet Your Beat has even thought about has been dropped in favor of 80 carry bans. And I really actually like getting rid of the Samir, getting rid of the MF. It's going to give a much more safe experience for this Jinx, who didn't have too much problem with the Aphelios matchup. But this Talia hover means it looks like we're getting a Seraphine Nautilus bot lane. Which we wondered if we were going to get the Seraphine Tarek last game. And how do you feel about Seraphine Nautilus as a duo?
I think Seraphine Nautilus, kind of like what we were talking about with the Seraphine Tarek lane last game, it doesn't tend to have a ton of synergy. I do think this is admittedly a lot better than Tarek Seraphine would be.
Fair.
But I do think a lot of this probably just does come down to the fact you probably want counterpick for your top lane. We saw how much Juggernaut was able to do with that in that first game. And when they
Yep.
blind picked the Garen in the second game, it didn't quite work out for them. So I think that's probably where this draft strategy might come in from them, with the Talia being picked rather than, a more traditional AD carry.
Whew. I'm waiting to see, like, do we go for a safer tank pick here for NWE? And nope, the exact opposite.
Wukong picked up here. Yeah, I mean, Turniips Tots, they did ban it last game. They were on the red side. And it could still be, there's some flex potential, is all I'm saying. We could send the Wukong jungle, Diana mid, Swain top. We could send Swain into the mid lane, and then Wukong into the top lane, and Diana into, we got some options here. So I think that is at least interesting. And it does look like we're going to see a last pick Alawi once again. So
Nice.
all hail the Kraken Priestess, baby.
Whew. Turniips Tots has, again, a super just kind of wonky, non-traditional composition. And obviously, they know what's working for them. They're first place in the league for a reason. But we saw the non-traditional composition just fall flat in game 2. But they put together a lot of pieces that are very strong this game, and stuff that worked well in the Alawi. Talia, despite not being as overwhelming as earlier, as in previous patches, she's still very good. I think I like NWE's draft better. Like, Wukong, for something getting to B5, Wukong's been previously banned both games and is still a really good champion. And I honestly am a big Swain fan. I spent a couple seasons as a Swain one-trick playing him top lane, but the champion is very good when he actually gets going. So I think I like NWE here. How are you feeling about this lobby?
I think it'll just be interesting to see. I feel like there's a lot more. I think these drafts are a lot more unstable. I guess I would say there's a lot more that could happen, and I think a lot of that will depend. What does this Olaf jungle want to do? It's not something that we see a lot these days. How does the Talia Swain mid lane play out, and what does this Alawi Wukong top lane 1v1 look like in this early to mid game? I think those are all things that could sort of go in either direction, depending on how the junglers want to play, how the supports want to roam, stuff like that. So it really will just depend on how these teams want to play the game, which I think does lead to exciting League of Legends. And that is the one thing that we can't always guarantee, or at least hope to guarantee, is some exciting League of Legends. So we will hop to a quick break, and then we'll be back on the Rift in just a second. So stick around. Finally on the Rift here, game number 3, the last chance either of these teams will have at each other in the regular season. So with only 2 weeks remaining after this one in the Gladiator League, we have these teams, Turniips Tots, New World Esports Titan, vying for these top positions heading into the postseason. And it'll be interesting to see who ends up coming out on top this week. You know, top of the leaderboards, 1st seed, 5th seed, and a couple of invades maybe.
We have a 5v5 brewing right here at level 1. Let's
There we go. The
go.
Death Sentence gonna land. Now we've got the double root coming out from GG No Rematch, and Nautilus is gonna go back in, Dredgeline connecting, and the damage seems a bit in favor right now of the red side. Turniips Tots going to give away that first blood. Protomorph now gonna get excited because that's what Jinx does, and Juggernaut might also be forced to flash away in this case. So a trade from Merlin, also gonna flash forward, gets the double root as well. The big Swain stun, a barrier used alongside the ignite, 2 early kills, and a nice early lead for New World Esports Titan.
Oh my god. Absolutely mental. The full-on 5v5 level 1 in game 3 for all the marbles in a game where, like, when we're talking about postseason placements, trying to get the best positioning you can, this is for all the marbles. This is as high impact of a game on the standings as we could almost get. And oh my god, the little differences and things just going in favor for NWE there. I love to see it. It's a peak Swain gameplay there. Really good stuff getting the multi-person pullbacks. I saw at least 2 multi pullbacks. A lot of birds coming in, and yeah, some peak Swain gameplay. But everyone played their parts. Everyone got at least, except for Ordaro. Everyone got at least the 1 kill, 1 assist. Ordaro just coming out with the 1 assist, so a little bit poorer, but did start it off with a fantastic play and just dropping the glacial augment across the whole choke point there. You know, like, you could see where the clicks were going, where Turniips Tots just were like, oh damn, this is happening.
And off the back of that early invade, we've had some more interesting jungle starts. No leashes, of course. So it does, you know, it's a bit more of a skill check for these jungle players, and the fly alongside the Descent is going to force out the flash and cleanse from GG No Rematch. Max distance there from Ordaro, and Trigger has opted for, it looks like a 3 camp and now a gank bot into a little bit of an invade.
I think this is a great idea, having double buff going in for the invade, because Olaf goes low on the jungle clear, so being able to punish that, but is now in dangerous territory.
Yeah, Trigger going to be able to sidestep the dredge line, but it will actually not be enough. They are still taken down here, but the numbers advantage over to New World Esports Titan. Double buffs on GG No Rematch, and an Olaf that is very, very sad.
Yeah, that is absolutely awful for Olaf, but fantastic for the Seraphine. Like, this lane kind of just becomes totally free for Seraphine, having blue buff early like that. She gets to spam spells, she gets to do everything, but Juggernaut has no mana here.
No mana, Boogie's Ignite just about to come up off of cooldown, and with no flashes available, it does seem like Juggernaut will be forced to take a reset here. Of course, no TP like they did in game 1. A bit tough for them, but now we see another jungler making their presence down in the bot lane. Some early trades, some trades going out in mid. And it will be interesting to see No Turt on a bit more of a proactive champion in the mid lane. You know, last game they did play that Seraphine pick, and while they did look good on it, I would say it didn't seem like it was quite the same as the Silas performance.
Yeah, and to be fair, that was a spectacular Silas performance, so it's a bit tough to match that. But yeah, the last game not going quite as well. I mean, it was Seraphine mid. I think they just got a bit full of the flex in there.
Force out the cleanse here from Protomorph. Bot lane running a bit low on mana. So Turniips Tots going to just be able to trade pretty for free on there. And the early clear favoring this Diana New World Trigger up. Looks like just 1 camp at this point, but I mean, if you're a Diana, the faster you get to 6, the happier you are.
And that's a Diana that's been ganking lanes more. Like, Olaf was trying to just peacefully farm the jungle, get up to that point where Kratos finds the axe and becomes a real boy. But Diana going for the invade, getting things started, and taking the farm lead as well as the kill lead is pretty rough for Meet Your Beat for a champion like Olaf that really wants to get started early.
Trigger here, spotted out on that pink ward a little bit ago, so not going to be able to make anything happen in that mid lane gank. But, I mean, they got a recurve bow at like 4.5 minutes. That just so drastically increases their clear speed. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, I didn't even look down and see that. And there's a couple really big item differences here. Like, Wukong having the Sheen versus Alawi having plated steel caps. You talked about how she's not really lacking for damage from her kit, but like, especially Wukong with a Sheen is one of those legendary, like, all-time League of Legends power spikes. Like, it's always the early game Wukong with the get a Sheen and just do disgusting things. And we're kind of seeing that up here.
Juggernaut being slowly bled out of resources right now. Boogie did get that base more recently. And I think with the Ignite and the Cyclone still up, Juggernaut's just going to cut their losses here, crash that wave, take a reset, and it will buy the Turniips Tots his first dragon as well, it seems. It does get spotted out, not quite stolen away despite Meet Your Beat's best attempts.
It was, I mean, honestly, good attempt at the hook. Mr. Shmee doing a fantastic job just blocking the angles. You don't want to be the one to feel silly watching a Thresh, a death sentence upon the dragon. And yeah, they didn't really have an opportunity to go in, but fighting in mid here.
Mr. Shmee gonna find the dredge line here. Swain gonna go demonic. And with the flash forward, Shmee is gonna flash across the wall. Hopefully the Eye of the Storm not going to slow enough. A flash forward from Trigger combo with the Moonfall. But the ultimates have now been used, and it does seem like Meet Your Beat's close by. Unfortunately, no turret, bit low on mana, not able to follow that one up at all. So, bit of an awkward roam time there from Mr. Shmee.
Yeah, and just, they've got to figure out some way to protect Meet Your Beat until Olaf can get some kind of gold, even if it's just from farming. They need Olaf to find a way into this game, because having just Caulfield's Warhammer and a Ruby Crystal, compared to Blasting Wand Recurve Bow on Diana, they can't take any 2v2s when it's like jungle mid, jungle top, unless there's like a truly bonkers outplay. And I think that's why we've seen Mr. Shmee abandon the lane so that GG No Re can safely farm as a Seraphine is capable of doing. And yeah, the Nautilus is trying to protect the Olaf and get him back in, but I think tonight, every single time we say something like that, like it is a genuine, very real curse. Like within, what, 20 seconds of me saying Seraphine safely farming, she gets hooked and died.
We saw her use that cleanse earlier. Now the Cyclone in the top lane here, but doesn't have a ton of damage with this plated steel cap, so looks like the damage, looks like it will actually come out. The barrier gonna keep Juggernaut alive. And actually the last tick of Ignite will find it, but they're in the jungle skirmishing a bit. It is a 3v2 now, Dredge Line going to land. So a pair of kills back, it seems, and the Rift Herald also taken. And Trigger and Merlin just staggered a bit there, a bit caught out, and the first Rift Herald now gonna be dropped to mid. Could be a nice bit of gold back for the Turniips Tots side.
I would kind of like to see Mr. Shmee get out and give more of the gold here over to Meet Your Beat and no turret instead of soaking up gold there. But they're prioritizing finishing off the turret, trying to get this first turret. They're not quite going to finish it. It's going to go down to one plate left, which is still a fantastic amount of gold. It's closed the gap from where NWE was starting to pull ahead, starting to get themselves a lead, and we've seen how hard things snowball once things start turning pear-shaped. And Ordaro, don't walk in there.
Oh, the Encore! Not correctly predicting where Ordaro was going to go. The Stone Toss will, though, but the Dredge Line can't go over the wall. It's not Thresh in this case. So we're just going to give a couple of souls over to Merlin, burn the cleanse. Sorry, there was no cleanse burned. It just looked like that. And chill for a bit longer.
Yeah, unfortunately for Turniips Tots, that was kind of a comedy of errors. The Encore going wide, the Dredge Line going wide.
Test the Spirit now. Leap of Faith also going to be used. So correctly recognizing you don't want to fight an ally while she's standing in 3 tentacles. Moonfall going to be dropped, forces the flash out of Juggernaut, and the flash forward from Boogie. No Ignite available. The healing from the tentacles going to be enough to at least trade with Trigger. So forgetting that the tentacles continue to slam even after your death. Meet your beat now. Going to at least force the flash out, and a TP burn from Merlin, who's just going to get immediately canceled. There was maybe a reason to not cancel that even.
Yeah, if they let Swain just finish the teleport, that's first turret.
We're not quite done now. The Dredge Line comboed with that Nautilus ult. Shmi gonna lock down the ED carry and the shutdown over to meet your beat. Alongside that reworked Olaf, the shield going to ensure that double kill, and no hope remains for Olaf to die at this point. Able to grab that pair of kills and reset. Might be a bit late for this drag though.
That was, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what you don't want to happen. They like if you're NWE at least, the Olaf was so far behind, was really just picking at scraps on the Rift, but getting those 3 kills in the past series of plays. Went from Caulfield's Warhammer and a Ruby Crystal to a completed Gore Drinker plus plated Steel Caps. And we truly have a Berserker on the Rift now. This game just got much more complicated for NWE. Squishy champion like Protomorph can no longer rest easy. Has to be very aware in these team fights, especially not having heal. Meet Your Beat is gonna be able to just run them down, and yeah, it's gonna be closer, it looks like, than the first 2 games.
Weaver's Wall put up, gonna buy a bit of time, but the Demonic Ascension now, everybody is caught in it. Moonfall gonna also dish out a ton of damage, and a flash away isn't gonna be enough to keep Mr. Shmi alive. It doesn't matter. Meet Your Beat trying to find the takedown on Merlin, but it won't be enough. The shutdown over to Ordaro, able to at least grab the dragon, but losing 3 of their members in the process. Turniips Tots back now behind on the gold.
And that was so iffy. The dragon went down to 14 health before Seraphine, presumably just like a Seraphine auto attack or one of the random notes flying through the air, managed to kill the dragon. So that was a bit scary if you were in a leading position like Turniips Tots was on that play. They did get the dragon though. They're gonna get this first turret. Did lose out on the kills there, but the gold, I mean, the gold was dead ass even, but now it's back in Turniips Tots' favor, and Trigger looks like they want this 2v2, but Boogie is out of there.
Shmi pulled up now to the top lane death charge, going to find Trigger, and Diana, she can of course dash to minions, but she can't dash away from a Alawi and a Nautilus running at you. Take it down, and it feels like, Trigger has come top lane a couple of times, but it hasn't really been working out for them.
Yeah, Trigger, even continuing from game 1, doesn't seem to have a great grasp on the amount of damage Alawi does. We saw in that previous gank just the...
Ordaro forgetting that they didn't have Hex Slash up on that moment. We've all, as somebody who plays support, we have all done that a number of times. And now... the Lantern tossed, looking for maybe a dive setup. No turret is here, though. They don't have Weaver's Wall, but they are just chilling out in range. And it looks like everybody's just going to be A-okay and back off.
Yeah, things got a little hype. The kill score ratcheted way up in those couple minutes, but we're going to take a breath. We're going to we're gonna let the game settle down a bit, reset a bit. It's 15 minutes, so the second herald is coming up. 2 dragons to 0 for Turniips Tots. So that's I feel like if any game in this series, it looks like we're gonna see a soul come out, and it is Mountain Soul. Not the most impactful. I mean, the shield is gonna be useful. There's just not a lot of champions building a lot of defensive stats on the Rift. Ooh. And speaking of item builds, Juggernaut, unlike the game 1 where Hullbreaker was 3rd item when the game was already over, this is a 1st item Hullbreaker rush.
And it's not going to get a ton of value right now as we're all just bunched up here fighting for the second herald. Not going to be able to get here in time to fight over it though. We're just going to look at each other, and I do think the 1st item Hullbreaker makes a bit more sense in this context. There really isn't any way for you to get 1v1'd, and even like we're seeing right now, Boogie can come up from behind, but who really cares? I mean, we're seeing Trigger up there, but it's so hard to gank this Alawi. We'll see, they might try.
Oh.
They're just going to back off, so full priority for all the vision in the world now for Turniips Tots around this next dragon. 90 seconds, of course, the duration of the ward, so you can place down that first line of vision and get your resets and then come back with a full trinket still available.
I get not wanting to commit the resources when we're like 75 seconds out from the dragon, but it's like time is like the most valuable resource in the game, and committing 4 people to go top to just menacingly look at Juggernaut while getting nothing done kind of feels bad, man, for NWE here. It puts him on the back foot for setting up for the dragon. I say as Turniips Tots actually didn't spend the time setting up wards on the dragon. That map is dark for the red team, and NWE has the jungle exits well marked, so they are the first ones here. Interesting choice from Turniips Tots, but who am I to criticize when they're tops of the league?
Now we're starting to see, you know, this because this mid lane tower is gone. The good news is Turniips Tots, they have a lot of space to work with. They can sort of push these waves up a bit farther, but that doesn't count as Meteor Beat gets caught out. The Stone Toss not able to throw anybody over the wall. Top lane, Juggernaut going to go for a Leap of Faith dive, and Boogie is cycloning, trying to spin to win, but not a lot of HP remaining, so if they get out, they won't be able to do much in this team fight. And Juggernaut's just going to be able to dish out a ton of damage on these side lane turrets. Now back to the main fight here. We see a one-man Moonfall Encore, also only going to find the Diana trigger now, but Meteor Beat's in the front line, trading with this Demonic Ascension Slain. Merlin not going to get taken down, Trigger 1 HP, who will die, and now exhausted. Merlin's going to try and pray and drain. Goes Golden, the dragon has been started up, but you are just outnumbered at this point. It does not matter. No Turk going to try and grab this kill. The Dredge line just going to ensure there's no way you get out, and GG no rematch going to be the one that comes out with the kill in the end.
Oh my god, Meteor Beat absolutely ran over the team. Now 6-3-3. It almost feels insane to think that at one point this Olaf was living under a bridge, begging for dollars at the corner. That just absolutely looked unfair. The whole team stacked up, the AoE damage, and I mean, no Turt was out there throwing out rocks. We've got the double Leandries in here for Turniips Tots, which those now stack, so the damage considerably more impactful than it was a patch ago, and it's starting to look sketchy for NWE. They find themselves down 5k gold. They once again don't have an answer for this Alawi. I don't know if that's matchup, lack of knowledge. It's a less common pick to see, but or Dara having to flash, but that's not going to help you with Olaf.
Weaver's Wall, making sure there's no escape for you. Or Daro trying to find that cheeky death sentence over the wall, trying to fly over it if he landed it, but couldn't quite connect. Would have been a pretty sweet play. And I think a really important stat to look at here at the top of the scoreboard, there is actually 0 towers gone, 0 Rift Heralds taken, and 0 dragons acquired. for New World Esports. They have nothing on the map. Everything is still up for Titans, or against the Titans. But Turniips Tots, they have 4 towers. All the top lane's gone. Both that tier 1 and the tier 1 in the bot and the mid lane, they're both gone. And we see Juggernaut now slapping that bot lane turret. It's just, they've gotten a ton of local gold from those towers.
Oh, yeah. And they got a ton of plates too. Like, I know mid lane we saw 4 plates get taken. Top lane, Juggernaut, I don't know how many plates, but got at least 3 plates up there by my memory.
Can't walk in here where you don't got no vision. Or Daro making the classic blunder of trying to look for vision when you didn't have the team to back you up. And it's funny seeing Juggernaut here with like 3 members of the enemy team around him and just not willing to fight him at all.
Ooh. And now the rest of Turniips Tots are taking advantage of the distraction provided by Juggernaut to go for possibly the world's slowest Baron take.
It's the world's slowest Baron take, but when it's as safe and as free as this is, you gotta take what you gotta take, right? Juggernaut now doesn't really have a lot of mana, and with, they have burned the flash, and of course with the ignite now, there's just no way they can actually dish out enough damage. So they will get taken down, give away a bit of a shutdown as well. And they're gonna try and run as best they can, but they don't have a team to run to. They don't have mana to try and turn a fight. They've got a bit of a tower here. Maybe it's enough. Boogie, not quite. And they will be able to find that in the end. It took a bit of time. Definitely unfortunate losing that Baron buff on your split pusher, though.
Yeah, I started getting a little bit scared when Juggernaut was like, kept getting a little bit of healing here, a little bit of healing there, kept like getting kind of out of there, but...
Mid lane, Merlin gonna try and go into the demonic form, but it won't be enough. A flash forward from the Encore, just gonna barely miss Ordaro, and with the Lantern, it will keep Protomorph safe as well, so just going to pay the price of your Swain for overextending just a touch. And now we are just gonna, looks like, channel our recalls, grab some gold, buy some items, and prepare for this 4th and, possibly final Mountain Dragon in just over a minute.
Yeah, I mean, 6k gold lead, when the best you can say for NWE in the last, 10 minutes of play is that they finally got their first turret, you kind of know something's gone wrong. And I mean, they have pieces, they have strong champions. The Diana is unrecognizable from the success of the previous game. The Wukong's scoreline is perfectly fine, just the Wukong is completely unable to exist in the same quadrant of the map as Alawi. Juggernaut just absolutely flexing on him, even though Boogie did get that kill with the fadeaway ignite. It's not helped. The Alawi is an absolute monster. And they've got Merlin trying to catch the split push, but Juggernaut has a 2-level lead here. The best Merlin can do is wave clear a bit safer, and is still getting chunked out.
And the summoner spell cooldowns, they are actually, a lot of them have been expended for Turniips Tots heading into this dragon. You don't have anything on Alawi, no ghost on Olaf, and with no flash on your Seraphine, you are actually a bit susceptible if one of the members of New World Esports can find a really clutch moment or spell. That is something definitely to take note into for this next dragon here.
Well, they're gonna have to choose between this inhibitor and this dragon, because Juggernaut is in position to solo dive Merlin, but I think the wave gets cleared out and Merlin gets back to the platform to heal. Juggernaut isn't stopping. You can see Swain on the map. Okay, Swain teleported over to the dragon.
He found the death sentence in on no turret. We're gonna go Encore. It's just gonna find 2 instant cleanse from Protomorph. Now Moonfall gonna hit a couple of members. Shmi not gonna be able to make it out alive, but GG no rematch still. chipping away from the backline. Meet Your Beat, able to at the very least take down Protomorph. It's a 3v2, but your Alawi is still in base. She's got Hullbreaker, and you don't have teleports available. Gonna try and stop the backs here. No Turd able to spot out Merlin with the help of GG No Rematch and recalling in the Tri-Brush, doing what they can, but the stone tosses are just keeping them at bay. A Lantern gonna try and keep Merlin alive, and it actually won't quite be enough. And Juggernaut, they're just continuing to take these towers. They have the wave, trying to spot out where this Diana is, but Trigger will make it out safely, so Juggernaut just gonna be able to grab all of the top lane and one of the Nexus turrets.
Trigger, I don't know if you can fight this. Alawi has the ult still. and God, that's the sort of play you just spam ping, I'm hunting alone. And the dragon didn't even go down. Neither team had a decisive edge in the fight, even though it was a 5v4 with Merlin teleporting over to the Baron pit to try to give them the lead they needed, the advantage they needed to go for this fight. And we're gonna lather, rinse, repeat as this dragon is the focus of attention. Turniips Tots want this soul, and Daro.
Unfortunately, Thresh cannot toss a lantern to himself, so Ardaro overextending, trying to perhaps get some vision on that dragon, but the Mountain Soul now long gone. Baron a minute away, and with no top lane to show for it all, Juggernaut's just gonna hunt alone now, go after these bot lane towers. It's just, I mean, if you're losing 4v5s, that is not a great sign if you're New World Esports Titan.
It was kind of in almost subtle ways. Like, I mean, the gold lead slowly but steadily. Honestly, fantastic play from Meet Your Beat in these fights. Just doing, got a drain off, but that's a 2-level lead for Juggernaut, and Merlin has no mana.
Yeah, Juggernaut's just going to sit here, grab your spirit, walk away safely with the Mountain Soul as well. Alawi is just not going to take any damage from this pathetic Swain at this point. So, I mean, she will stay top. She still has ult, both summoners up, plenty of mana in the tank, and hopefully just going to wait for her team to get back on the map so she can continue to apply some pressure.
It was pretty wild. I saw, I think it was like a month or two ago at this point, an Alawi in one of my games similarly running amok. That Alawi chose to go Duskblade, and I was not a believer. I thought I was being griefed, but I swear to God, once the ult came out, the tentacles slammed down, and Alawi started going invisible. A genuine 1v5 performance. I gladly accepted the carry.
I miss the days where when you kill with an Alawi E-Spirit, she would get the Duskblade invisibility, because that was briefly in the game, and those were the days. That's all I will say. That was that was something silly. So now 2 members going to try and answer this one, Kraken Priestess, but it's not. I wouldn't even say it's in favor of the New World Esports side, so they're gonna have to send a couple more members down. New World Esports Trigger making her way down. Boogie spinning to win the Cyclone. The Ignite dropped, and Juggernaut's just sitting here waiting for that tentacle to spawn, waiting for more members to get here. Gonna finally drop the Flash Leap of Faith, gonna get a bunch of healing. Locket will be used, and with the Moonfall, it will be able to take down the raid boss. Nobody survived. Sorry, nobody actually ended up dying, but boy, was it close.
The patience from Juggernaut, like knowing since the bird was totally uncontested, and had a couple words in the path, so knowing it was probably about to be literally a 1v5 there, the patience to get more tentacles out of the ult, and almost made that. That would have been the most hype play I've seen in a long time. If Juggernaut actually made that would have been fantastic. Still looked super good, but now the rest of the team is marching into the base.
Yep, and with the dredge line now landing on the second member, it does not look like New World Esports Titan are long for this world. Meet Your Beat, dropped the Ghost, has gone Ragnarok mode, and the Baron, the Mountain Soul, the gold advantage, the inhib turrets, there's just so few things remaining in the way of Turniips Tots taking this series 2-1. Dredge line going to go a bit wide, but Trigger doesn't have the Cyclone up available, and he's just going to be taken down now. So no remaining members alive, and that will be the series. Turniips Tots 2-1, New World Esports Titan, and they will continue on now to an 8-1 overall record, continuing likely this first place seed heading into week 9.
Just a really deserved W there. A dominating scoreline, and like game 3, I feel like was the closest that we got. But like once they got their hooks in it, once Turniips Tots like got planted into the ground in there, it was just a wild ride to the ending, and a really fun game, really enjoyable, really entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, if game 1 was the Turniips Tots show, game 2 was the New World Esports Titan show. Game 3 was definitely much more back and forth. It seemed like maybe New World Esports was just going to run it back. They had basically the same team comp as last game. Maybe they'd figured something out, but they just let it slip away, unfortunately. And Turniips Tots capitalized on that moment of weakness, grabbed the gold lead, and never looked back. So a great showing from them, game 3 as well. And once again, you know, they've moved themselves into the first place position, in a great position heading into this postseason. 2 weeks left to secure that first seed. Of course, there is one other team who is also sitting at 9-1. So it'll only be a matter of time until the Hard Hat Zone BBB and the Turniips Tots will face off. But that is all that ShotDuck and I have for you today. I hope you have all enjoyed this journey with us. And I don't know if you have any last words here, ShotDuck, but it's been a fun series.
No, yeah, a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing how the rest of the season shakes out. I hope we get Turniips Tots and Hard Hat Zone on stream. That's got to be the most anticipated match of the season coming up. But other than that, no, I am looking forward to get ready for bed. I've got work in about 8 hours.
Well, thank you once again, ShotDuck, for joining us, and thank you all for joining us for tonight. We will hope to see you tomorrow. I believe we have another one of the Titan Leagues happening, and we will, of course, be back with the Gladiator League same time next week. So if you want more Titan esports action, you can find us here. Once again, I have been Fun Phoenix, joined by the lovely ShotDuck, and we hope you have a good night.
Have a good night, folks.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world's calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you'll never see